why haven't I lost the weight yet? Why isn't the scale changing? What is wrong with me? Instead of doing that, if you're walking every single day, maybe even hitting 10,000 steps, and you're still not seeing any changes with your weight loss, body changes, then this video is for you. I struggled with the same thing where I was feeling like I was getting 10,000 steps a day, eating salads, but still feeling stuck and not seeing my weight change. And I'm going to talk about what I did to change that and how I got out of this rut of not being able to lose weight and being at this plateau, and how you can do the same. So, if you're ready to do that, get back on track and really lose the weight, get into shape, and reach your fitness goals, then make sure to like this video because we're going to make sure it happens together. And also, if you're new here, my name's Coco. I talk all things fitness, self development, and wellness. And I'm also a registered nurse, so you might as well subscribe and join the tribe. Also, comment down below what are your fitness goals, and let's root each other on in the comments. So, getting right into it, one of the reasons that I decided to get into walking was that I found it to be something that's sustainable, and it was something different than these high intensity interval training workouts. And it was something that I felt like I could stick to. But there were a lot of things that I was missing as a part of that, because walking in itself is not a magic fix. So there are other things that have to be done along with that. So one of the main reasons for being stuck at a plateau and not seeing any changes with weight loss, even though you're possibly getting 10,000 steps a day and walking, eating what feels like you're eating healthy, drinking water, all those things, is that you could be eating either too much or not enough. Not only is there such a thing as overeating, but there's such a thing as undereating. And when we're undereating, that also halts our progress. And I think that's one thing that a lot of people don't recognize or realize, because they think I'm going to work out a bunch and then I'm going to barely eat, and this is where I'm going to see a bunch of change. But that actually puts our body into starvation mode, and it wants to hold on to fat because it doesn't know when the next meal is coming. So that is something that is not good either, as well as overeating. So of course, if we're overeating, we definitely can't expect to see changes either, but they both go hand in hand. One is not better than the other. And we want to be making sure that we are getting enough calories, enough healthy fats, enough carbs, and enough protein and minerals. So, one of the best ways to make sure that we're doing that is to use what's called a TDEE calculator, which is the total daily energy expenditure. So, how much calories we're burning day to day based on our activity level, our height, and weight. And so, this is a calculator that you can find online and look up and enter your height, your weight, how sedentary, how active you are, and it will calculate how many calories it is that you should be eating and break down like the macros with the protein, carbs, and healthy fats. And that lets us know where we are at maintenance and where we are to put us in a calorie deficit and where we are to put ourselves in a calorie surplus. So that's really important to know for our body type. So especially for if you're someone who's very sedentary and you're just starting your journey, it's really important and good to know of how much calories would put you in a maintenance or put you in just a slight calorie deficit to lose weight. So also as well, if you've been on your journey for some time and feel like you're not seeing any changes, but now you're a lot more active, then it's time to reevaluate with your total daily energy expenditure to see if that's changed as far as your maintenance and calorie deficit. So that's really important. I think it's a good way to track where you are with your calories and to make sure that you're getting the right foods and enough of the right foods. And the next thing that could be a major reason with halting progress, staying at the same walking pace for months and months and months. So when we first start our journey, again, if you're someone who's really sedentary and you're going from sitting all the time to starting to walk even 5,000 steps a day, that will be a big change for your body, and you might see results even starting at that amount, right? And so at a certain point, your body though will start to adjust and adapt, and it gets used to that amount of activity. And so now it's not as shocked, and now it's just adapted, and now it'll start to plateau. So instead, once you start to find it less challenging, that's a good time to say, let me try and amp the amount of steps that I'm getting per day. And also, so going from the amount of steps, but then also changing the pace. So if normally doing the 10,000 steps in 2 hours, saying maybe an hour and 45 minutes. So changing the pace even slightly is also really great and also helps to challenge your body and start to see change. And then the other really big component is consistency, because a lot of times we say, I'm getting 10,000 steps all the time, but then there's a few days where we feel like we don't want to go for the walk, or we don't feel well, or stomach hurts, or the weather isn't great. So we say, I'll skip today. And then a couple days, we'll say, I'll skip this day. And so, although it feels like we're getting 10,000 steps a day all the time, we are actually skipping a bunch of days, and those here and there days add up, right? So it seems like not a big deal, but consistency is a really big deal. It's really important when it comes to seeing progress with anything that we do. So definitely when it comes to walking and eating healthy, being consistent is really important. So making sure that we stay on a consistent schedule and not saying, I'm going to walk this week and then next week I'm out of town, so I can't walk. Just being really intentional, even for myself. I know I travel a lot for work, but I make sure if there's a hotel, the hotel that I'm staying at, then I'm going to go downstairs to that treadmill and I'm going to get my steps in. If not, I will walk around nearby, find a park, things like that. Just being really intentional, not finding excuses to say, oh, well, I can't get my walks in this week. Just really finding a way, whether it's pacing back and forth, but just really making sure to be consistent and getting those steps. And the next reason why you cannot be seeing progress is not incorporating strength training. So a lot of times we think walking is the key to everything, and I'm just going to walk and I don't need to do anything else. And I'm terrified of weights. I don't even know what to do. What do I do when I go to the gym? But it's really important to incorporate strength training as well, even if it's starting with body weight, practicing, making sure that your form is correct in what you're doing, and starting with just light weights, right? Starting with the machines at the gym. So, not thrusting yourself if you're completely new to it, but starting slow and figuring out what works best for you. Something I definitely did. I didn't start out lifting heavy. I started out lifting what was challenging for me and making sure that I was having the correct form and just learning the equipment, learning the machines. And another thing is, if at your gym you're unsure of what to do, you don't know the machines, you can always ask someone that works at the gym. They will be happy to show you how a machine works. Not even having to get an actual personal trainer, but someone at the gym will just be able to show you how the equipment actually works. And either someone who works there, or if you see someone that looks experienced, also just asking for help. It's a great way to meet people, but also people in the gym culture is really great. They're always willing to help. So I think just not being afraid to just ask someone for a little help. How does this machine work? And go from there. And again, just starting with small weights that are challenging, but challenging enough, but still allow you to have the proper form is really important. And so strength training is imperative for building muscle, and muscle burns fat. So when we are hitting this plateau of just getting nothing but cardio, muscle comes into play because muscle burns fat at rest. So even when we're not doing anything, that's where our muscle is working overtime to burn fat. So if that's the ultimate goal, then strength training has to be paired with walking as well, especially when it comes to wanting to reshape your body, because walking will help to lose fat, but strength training is really the muscle. That toned look is from muscle. And so that is how we start to get that shape that we want. So muscle and strength training is really important for that reason. And the next reason that it could be that you're not seeing any changes is because you're not managing your stress or your sleep. So stress is probably, I think we all know that we go through it, but it's really important how we manage our stress, because yes, it's almost inevitable to have it, but we want to make sure that we're managing our stress levels, because that causes our cortisol levels to rise, and that causes our bodies to feel like we're in fight or flight and hold on to fat as well. So it also works against us. So I think finding things that are relaxing, activities that are relaxing, making sure that we're managing our stress and not being stressed 99% of the day and then having one moment where we're okay, but just managing that, finding healthy ways to manage our stress, whether it's journaling throughout the day, talking it out to someone, not holding in and bottling up stress, and also not stressing our physical body, right? So when it comes to stressing our physical body, not getting enough sleep is definitely a big form of stress on the body because our bodies need rest to recover and to rebuild our cells, and we need rest for energy. So without that stress on the body, it's rising our cortisol levels because our body is just under duress and trying to regulate, and we're not helping our body to do that by depriving it of sleep. So important getting 8 hours of sleep if we can. Whenever I get enough sleep, I realize that I function a lot better. I have more energy. I'm able to go on my walks effortlessly. I'm able to do strength training effortlessly. It is such a big factor in how everything goes with my workouts, with the rest of the day, with my eating. That is another thing because when we're stressed, then what do we typically like to do? We like to find comfort foods. And instead of focusing on healthy foods, that's where we'll say, like, oh my gosh, let me get like a sweet treat. I'm stressed out. Let me go get a cookie. I'm stressed. So, stress can really deter our progress and cause us to completely plateau and not see any more weight loss on our journey. So, that's definitely something to make sure that we keep at bay as much as possible and just managing that. And the next reason that it could be that you're not seeing progress with the gym, with walking, even though it seems like you're getting your steps and eating healthy, is that you have this all or nothing attitude. So if you feel like you missed a day or you feel like you're not going to be able to get your full 10,000 steps that day, then you don't do any walking at all. And you're like, there's no way I'm going to get my steps. So you just give up instead of doing what you're able to do and maximizing the time that you have and maximizing what you are able to do. So finding ways throughout the day to get those steps in, even if it's like a really busy day or feeling like what's impossible to get steps, just finding a way to work those in and not looking at it as though if I can't get the 10,000, then I'm not going to do anything. Or if you fall off one day and don't get your steps, then the next day you're like, okay, well, I give up. I'll try next Monday. So getting out of that all or nothing thought process where you feel like you have to go all in, and if you're not hitting 10,000 steps every single day, if you fall off one day, then you're just going to throw in the towel and start again in a week. So, or start over on Monday, just getting out of that mentality and focusing on what you're able to do and not letting an off day throw you completely out of your routine and not letting the lack of being able to get that full 10,000 steps deter you either. If you're at work, finding those breaks in between to get those steps, even if it's a really busy day after work, you don't have the time after or before, just finding ways to work in what you can and having that mindset of getting those steps in wherever you can. Just every little bit adds up. So even again, if you're not getting that full 10,000 steps, but you are still being active and still getting that movement in regardless. And then the next thing, which I feel like is so important and I can't emphasize enough, is having patience. So if you're starting your walking journey, if you've started it and you're like, I've been walking 10,000 steps a day, I don't see any changes, and I'm eating super healthy, then having patience is a big part of it as well. It is not an overnight thing where you're going to see your progress after a day or two, even a week necessarily. Giving it time is really important, and not rushing the process is also really important because again, if you're looking at it as though you're just trying to get it out the way, just trying to do it, looking at the time, am I there yet? Have I gotten the 10,000 steps? How much longer do I have to do this? Are we done yet? Is this walk over yet? If that's the mentality, then it's going to feel that much more daunting versus embracing the process and seeing it as a lifestyle change, seeing all the benefits that come from it, like a better mood, more energy, more of a glow, just your body getting stronger overall and being able to walk so much further and knowing that you're improving your cardiovascular health, looking at those other benefits versus focusing so much on why haven't I lost the weight yet? Why isn't the scale changing? What is wrong with me? Instead of doing that, just focusing on the benefits that you're seeing and later on and look at the benefits with how your clothes are fitting, how you feel, take progress pictures, and before you know it, that's when you'll finally see the results on the scale as well, but not focusing and hyper focusing on a number on the scale and losing the weight. So let me know down in the comments which of these resonate with you the most. And also, if you're new here, make sure to subscribe. We'd love to have you a part of the tribe, and let me know which other videos you want to see. And I can't wait to see you in the next video.